Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It's April 2nd and we're going to do a full garden tour. Let's just see how things are going. It's always work in the garden. You got some wire laid over here. Had some strong winds the other day. We've done a little bit of fixing up over here. We got a rhubarb in the ground. It's not looking too awful good. We gave it a little bit of overhead water, and same thing with our ginger. Now the ginger might have, it looks like maybe got a little sun skull, and not to say that the rhubarb didn't either, but it should recover. The main thing is moisture. Or French fingerlings, most of them are recovering, coming back. Some are slower than others. And we've got our shallots here. They're doing pretty good. Should be a good crop. We'll go over here to our onions. Now, we had been doing some pulling of some of these onions, some of them that were going to seed or they were multiple. Like this one got missed, but the ones that were multiple, that was where the freeze killed the onions and they didn't come back. They kind of come back double from the bottom. And we might as well do the victory garden while we're up here at this end. Onions look good. The muslin mix, it's getting down to just a few varieties left. Most everything's going to seed. Our sunflowers are doing good. Now our French finger and potatoes are not doing good. The only one that come back is right there, and that one actually germinated. That was one of the potatoes that was late. And so anyway, if we don't have them, we don't have them. Now our other plants are doing good, or pepper and our few tomatoes. We put some T-posts up here. We're going to put baskets around these ones. The golden beets are coming back from the last freeze damage, and our other pepper here is doing good. And our 3 squash, now we had to replant these, and so we just have 3 yellow squash here. We did have before, we had a zucchini variety and 2 yellow squash, but we didn't have any more of those transplants, and I didn't want to wait on a seed. Our one cabbage, now we did clip back the burnt leaves, but it doesn't seem to want to do anything. I think it kind of got stunted from the cold. So we're probably going to replace that, and we still got to come in here and replace where we pulled up our mustard and turnips. Our green beans, we have a few here. Some of them, I don't know if they got nipped or what, but the cold might have got them when they were just popping up. The ones that were just out a little bit, they survived. Our carrots are doing fair. They're not doing all that great. And our cucumbers, now these are needing some fertilizer. We just put these in here, and they got a little bit of sunburn to them. Now our little marvel peas are just now blooming, so it won't be long. We'll be having a few peas there. And these shallots are they're growing, but they're just not doing all that great. But that's how the victory garden's doing. It does need a little attention. We need to do some more planting. We've been kind of busy. We've been putting in T-posts today. We put a T-post on each end of these tomatoes because we're putting baskets on here. We use the concrete mesh, and just we've had some from a row of it for it's probably been 15 years now that we keep using them, but we run a wire on the top because the winds, whenever they come blowing, tend to want to blow them over, and so that keeps them in place. Now we have our squash down here. This is our zucchini variety, which is not actually, it's got another name, but I don't remember what it is. And this is our yellow and crookneck, which are really doing good. Won't be long, they'll be producing. Now we did have to change all our cucumbers out. We had some that were older, that's right here, and then we put in some younger ones right here. And they're doing really, really good. Won't be long. As it warms up, they'll take off. Now our second set of early peas, these are Alaskan bush, are doing real good. They're starting to bloom, but you can see they're hanging away from the fence. We ended up having to put a rope on this side over here, or I say some twine, to hold them up to the fence, because when the wind blows, it blew them over. But these other ones are probably trying to reach a little bit more for the light, because the sun is still a little towards the south, and that's probably what's causing this problem. But we're going to pull them up too. Now these other ones, as you can see, it won't be long. We've got peas that are almost filled out. They probably mighty tasty now, but we'll let them get their size. But it's just getting loaded up with peas there. So Vicky, she just can't wait, because she loves her early peas. We've been harvesting some of this leek out of here, and a few of the beets. These onions are bulbing up here. They're not really bulbing even, but that's just what we deal with. And then of course we've got some that we come back in and replanted, and they're a lot younger. These beets are looking good. Now earlier we talked about the two varieties, and you could tell the difference in them real easily, because the I believe it was Wonder, they were doing so much faster than these Detroit Darks. But it looks like the Detroit Darks have caught up as far as, but I think the Wonders put on a beat quicker. Now we did have some freeze damage to our collards here, and so we come and cut all those leaves off, and to keep from stressing those plants, and there is a video on that. And our this is late flat Dutch cabbage, and it's been same way. We cut the leaves off, and it's recovering real good. While we're over here, I guess we see we've been harvesting our asparagus. Looks like the first purple asparagus in there coming up, so we'll harvest on that one and see how that one tastes. But and chives are doing good. We put in 2 new rosemary for the ones we lost. In the greenhouse here, we've got our celery's got some rust on it, which is a common problem for celery. We have some transplants over here, which we have some new collards. We didn't know how those were going to do, so I planted some more seed. We've got some more cucumbers that's left there. We have some cilantro here. This was the one that got to freeze, and so it kind of turned it purple. This other one is a little bit better. Now our bunching onions, I would thought these were going to grow a little bit faster than this. I don't know if it's got fungal gnats in there, and I probably, sorry about that, and knocked my mic off. But anyway, I don't know if it's fungal gnats in these bunching onions or what. So anyway, I'll probably get some natural down here and deal with that. These onions aren't looking too good. We keep saying we're going to need to put these out, but you can see these are already starting to bulb a little bit, and that tells you there's stress from their container. And I do need to get it in here in water, because I can see it's getting dry. But I got some new, this is some holy basil. I didn't plant any of that last year, and I said I better plant again. We have some lacinato kale. Hopefully we'll replace some of that that's stressed out over there. Now we have these trays, and they're still sitting here because I haven't taken them out. But you can see this is pak choi, and this was 216, and this is bok choy that was a month later, and you can see they're almost the same size, and that's because this has got stressed. This Hilton, it's going to have to be thrown out, and I got to get this salad mix in the ground. Now we get over here to our sweet potato slips, and these things are going wild, growing all over the place. We've got quite a few of them in here. What I've been thinking about doing is taking these out and planting them in my other bed where I've got some potatoes bedded up, and hopefully that should cause them, when I bury them, if I take and it's kind of hard to show you with leaves trying to jump back, but if I bury these off in there, a lot of these where there's a vine, it'll root at each one of the joints where there's leaves, and so each one will be a slip, and they'll really do good. But I do have quite a few, but I'm thinking that's not as many as I want. Now we have some leftover okra plants that we put out in the old garden spot, and then we have some roselle. We had all our first batch the last freeze got in, even though it's covered. And then here we've got some more Hilton and some other Napa cabbages, and another bok choy and some early Jersey, and then some red cabbage varieties in here, which they always tend to not germinate quite as well. And the celery, like I say, it's got the rust. We have used a fungicide on it, but I'm thinking it's going to have to have a more regular treatment to it. Our onions over here are doing pretty good. They're starting to get in their bulbing phase. Our garlic still looks kind of sickly. I mean, it's normally elephant garlic would be a whole lot taller, and I do need to get out here and I guess shoot some more nitrogen to them and give them a good watering. We have our eggplant. We started putting baskets on it, and down at the end of this row we've got our natapinos in the ground. So those peppers are on their way. In the greenhouse and outside the greenhouse, kind of give these get these transplants the ability to get acclimated to the sun. You can tell, like these sunflowers here, they definitely need some fertilizer. They're not liking it. Same thing here with my borage. It's definitely not liking it. Now we have our row of cucumbers in here, and we have some basil in here, and looks like I got something wanting to eat a little bit of this, so we're going to have to see what's going on there. And we have some peppers, or jalapeno peppers. We have some small ones on the plant right over there. You can see those. And our tomatoes are blooming up a storm. We've probably got some little tomatoes set on this first one. I think it was the first one to bloom, and we can see our little cherry tomatoes coming on, so that's really nice. Got fig trees everywhere. I've been potting these up, and that'd be another video. Our carrots are doing pretty good. They are stressing a little bit, and part of this is maybe the leaves is from digging around in there, maybe pulling occasional weed or harvesting some carrots, but they are doing good as far as growing. and just have to go through and find some. They're not the biggest carrots, and they're not the prettiest, but they are carrots. We have some radishes here that's doing pretty good. Our citrus, now we're going to have to narrow this down, and we're going to have to figure what we're going to do. And our bananas, now that banana there, pup, is doing real good. This one started shooting a leaf, but it's kind of got stagnant there, so I don't know what's up with that. Our early bell peppers are putting on, and our celebrity tomatoes, they've been blooming, so we should be having some little ones there. We have some more fig trees here that were potted up later. Now, while we're in here, and we got a string that's getting tangled up in the top, but this is our grapefruit from our single seed challenge for last year. So this is a year and a few months old. Our orange tree, which has been blooming and been loading itself up with oranges, hopefully they'll all stay. A lot of our air layered Meyer lemons are loading up too. They've got all kinds of lemons. Of course, we got a late lemon held over from last year, and it's setting new ones. But this one's starting to yellow, so maybe a month or so it'll be ready to enjoy. Now we got a lot of our echinacea coming back. In fact, one's blooming real short to the ground, but that's doing good. And we do have one weed in here, which we'll get rid of that one. And we've just now, our chamomile started putting its little buds out, fixing to bloom. We've got a nice bunch of dill in here and some more dill right here. And then we've got our cilantro. This is our next crop that hopefully we'll be able to harvest some of this Friday. And I always like the curly leaf parsley. It looks like a little forest or a menagerie down there. And here's some of our bunching onions that we had put in, and they're doing pretty good. Let's go back up here to the top. Now our rutabagas are looking a little tough because we took all the leaves off of them. And we got our little sprayer out here because we had some aphids that decided to attack them, which is common. Now we sprayed, you can see kind of where they were, and they might still be there. We'll treat them again. If that don't do it, well, they're just going to come up. But we had trimmed all the frost damage, or most of them. You can see we've got some left there. But what we did was we waited a little too long, and that caused the situation. Now our red lettuces, they did fine in the freeze. We got some more leek over here. And our garlic with our test bed, we've ended up, there's about 56 of the nodules that's come up. And instead of wasting this, because we're going to have this garlic growing for a little bit, we're going to take those onions. The intent is to go ahead and fill in the rest of this bed with those onions, and whether they bulb good or whether they're table onions, whichever way, because we've been freeze drying the onions that have decided to go to seed. Now the chard, I've kind of left it here to see if it recovers how it does. It's not really looking that great. The spinach is hanging in there. It's not doing too awful bad. We've plugged in a few peppers. See what these here are sweet red cherry peppers. This is a new variety this year, and it looks like it needs some water. That are either ants are attacking it. Now these, and I believe this is early Jersey cabbage that's in here. But these were some that we did the video on as far as getting the leaves off them, the damaged leaves, and we got these off early. Now we probably should have pulled or cut this one out, but you can see how quick most of them's recovering. Now there's a few that should be removed that weren't, but a lot of these are recovering fine, and they won't be stressed to attract bugs. Now this was cilantro. Now is, like a lot of you know, it's turned into coriander. You can see the little flower buds starting on the top. We're going to cut this out. We're not looking for saving seeds for that. These onions here, the white onions kind of bulbing, and the red onions. Now, red onions tend to bolt quicker. You can see this one here, sending up a seed top. What we'll do is we'll take and harvest another batch and freeze dry them. Now our fennel, this year's wanting to stay to the ground, and part of that is that cold weather. It usually causes that. This cabbage is going to need to be cut out. They just haven't got to it. Our broccoli is recovering fine. It probably wouldn't hurt to take a few leaves off to deter any type of bugs. Now this cabbage here, this is one early Jersey that actually survived the 9-degree freeze when everything was covered, but this was the only one survived, and it's really it's getting pretty close to harvest time. Now our Mitchell-Healy cabbage is going to seed. Of course, we said we're going to save the seed. It is going crazy. Shouldn't be long. We'll start seeing the pods. I think we're going to have to take all of our Lawsonata kale out. Now we put in some bell peppers over here on this row. Now these cabbage down here, we took out all these other cabbage that was here, just clipped this whole row out. And we might take out a few more. And I got a cat that keeps trying to get the bluebird, and she doesn't do too good of a listening when I tell her to leave them alone. Now we've got all these T-posts that we put out here for the tomatoes. We've got all our tomatoes out. We had a few snap off from the wind the other day. Now we have strung up a couple of these rows. We're just doing the Florida weave. I've done a video in the past on that. You better leave her alone. Go on, go on, go on. Leave that bird alone. And we've got our hatch green chilies out. Now we still have some peppers that we've got to get out. We've got to do our Florida weave on some more of these rows. We've got 3 done. We have 2 more rows to complete. We've got to get our baskets out on the peppers. Down here, our apple tree. Now I'm thinking, I was trying to go back and figure out when. I'm thinking these may be 4-year-old trees, but these were the trees I planted from seed, and they're just now they're coming back out, and they're just now starting to bloom this year. This first year this one's bloomed. The other one hasn't shown signs of wanting to see him bloom. It is leafing out. Our strawberries are doing good, but like common with the Avion is the runners, and we decided, well, we're going to clip the runners, but we decided we'd pop some up and go ahead and when we redo this row, we've already did this half of this one, and we'll put strawberries in on those too. we've been harvesting some. They're starting to turn red, and been enjoying those. Hopefully we'll have some Friday for the market. Now our blueberries, we've come in and I replaced a few that had died, and I'm going to say a lot of it had to do with not taking care of them, but they are doing good. They're blooming heavy. We did fertilize them like we should. We have added some varieties. This one was just put in this morning. They really recommend cutting them back a third, but being it was in a two-gallon pot, and hopefully we didn't disturb the roots too much when we raked them down, because it's starting to get kind of root bound in the thing. But we should have a few tasty berries if we take care of them and do like we should. Now we got one more plant right here that died, and so I'll pick it up at the farmer's market this weekend. At our old garden spot where we got our potatoes, you can see where we covered them all up at the freeze, and I told you they'd come back, give them a few weeks. And these might have even done better. It's got a few that haven't popped out, but it's not really that bad. But if we had done a little bit more watering, they keep saying it's going to rain, so I don't water. And then when it does rain, it's only like a quarter inch or something. So it's supposed to rain tonight. If it don't, then I'll turn these on. Now I did shorten all the sprayer risers because I don't have any tall crops over here and won't for a while. But the wind just carries the water a good ways off, so it's better to have these low. Now these carrots are kind of weedy in here, but there is a stand of carrots, as you can tell. And down here towards the end, and I need to get in here and do just a little bit of weeding. I've pulled some of the bigger ones out. But down here, we have, looks like we might need to come and change out a few of these, but we have our little okras coming in. This one here ain't looking too happy. We've got some more that's over there, and then another row over there further. But we decided we'd grow our okra out here this time, and it should do fine. So let's go look at the lower garden. And down here at the lower garden, it's, let's see here, get a wide angle first. We have actually cleared up this way where we had our trees and stuff, cleared this, got most of the roots. You can see a lot of little roots coming in, and that's an ongoing thing that we do. But we've taken and we've cut these sprayer heads down, except the one down there where the corn is, and you can see it coming up. Now we had just replanted some of these rows right here. These rows were right in here were green beans, and they weren't doing very good. So we decided to take and redo them. And there was a few purple hull rows right here, and we redid them because they were kind of thin. Now we do have a bunch of grass in here. I'm gonna get my little hand tiller and run down between these. This is all nut grass, so it's, I'd say nut grass. Most of it's nut grass. There's a little rye that's come back, which isn't a problem, but most of it's nut grass. We had a problem too on the end over here with our purple hull peas, to where they weren't getting the sprinkler on them. So we've just replanted these two, and they're not up yet. If our winds would calm down, I think we'd do a little more watering. But like I say, it's supposed to rain this evening. If it doesn't, well, we'll hook up the sprinklers and or turn them on and go from there. The corn, and I planted it with the seeder, and it's kind of in there heavy, so I'm going to have to get down here and thin it out. Now I have a low spot right here. You maybe can kind of see it. And I leveled up most of it whenever I did this up here. And once this corn and this crop comes out of peas and green beans, I'll pull dirt back here, because what happens is you can see where it wants a puddle. Of course, I had a problem with one of my sprayers, which added to that situation. But anyway, we'll get that dealt with. But my corn is definitely in here too thick, and I've got a lot of them that are there might be a space that it could use some. Now last time when I was pulling them up, I put some in there, and then if I water, they should take hold. The rest of this area, this is where our green beans stop. Most likely we're just going to do cantaloupes and watermelons and pumpkins such as that. Some honeydews, different things like that. But we'll put some out this year. We haven't planted that many. We did some cantaloupes a while back, but we didn't do very many, so we're going to do quite a bit more this year, maybe get enough for the market. But cantaloupe is one of those that really freeze dries good. It's just like having candy. You know, you go get you a snack with it. It's just like having a piece of candy. And we might even try some watermelon. Now, it's really grainy, so I don't know how well that's going to do, but it won't hurt to try it. But anyway, that's where we're sitting on our garden right now. I hope you enjoyed this tour. I hope you're either got yours going good, or you're getting prepared for those warmer days. Anyway, thanks for watching, and enjoy that gardening experience.